Are you ready to fully commit yourself to Trigger Sack? Because today we're talking about the new Brantgate deck, Gravidia Nordlinger. Let's start this profile by discussing the two main cards in the deck. Gravidia Nordlinger is a Vanguard that gets value based on how many copies of Meteorite orders you can send from field to grave. For sending one order, she gets plus 15k attack, and for 3 orders, she becomes objectively better Phantom Blaster Dragon, and for 5, she becomes a Toxic Sack God. The order Neatness Meteor Shower lets you soul charge 1 on place, and when placed by Nordlinger's first skill, it lets you draw 1 and lets you retire 1 when it's sent from field to drop. So together, on grade 3 turn, if you send all 5 meteorites for Nordlinger effect, you can wipe your opponent's board, threaten massive numbers, and then draw 2 as well. It's one set in, and this deck already has equal retiring power to Eugene, and I'm kind of pissed. This deck's specific goal is to have 5 meteorites on field first grade 3 turn consistently, so we can threaten lethal immediately, as well as continuing to have at least 3 orders for the next 2 turns. Here's my deck list. So to get the elephant out of the room, I run 14 meteor orders in this deck. This deck has no way to occur orders during set 3. This means at a minimum we have to run 10 if we want Nordlinger's skill to fully resolve twice in a game. Assuming we keep 1 meteor in hand from Mulligan, this ratio gives us about a 95.2 chance of seeing 1 meteor, or a 74.6% chance of seeing 2 or more meteors from a grade 1 skill. We really want to see most of our orders in hand from this grade 1 skill, because it's a massive neg to draw multiple of these meteor orders instead of literally anything else in the deck. Gravidia Stunnel is this deck's numbers piece. It gets attack, it gets guard, and we're really only running it because we don't have better options. The extra guard is nice, the permanent attack bonus is surprisingly relevant, it can make it easier to guard against Leonard in other situations, it's just a solid unit that can be placed on turn 2 and is relevant turn 3. Now, our ride line units are really where this deck shines. Gravidia Beringer lets us Soul Blast 3 for a draw. The cost is never a problem thanks to our soul charging orders. It also gains attack for the first skill, and it can permanently gain attack for having just orders in play in general. This unit is just objectively better Stunnel. Gravidia Wells lets us play extra meteorites from hand. This is really only relevant going into turn 4 or later, but it's a nice booster so we run 2 with the space that's available in the deck. We run 8 crit trigger to fully benefit off of Gravidia's skill. We run 4 heal, 3 front as well. By the way, if you do hit the overtrigger, Gravidia immediately swings for 8 crit. It's unbelievably toxic. Every player is just going to PG the Vanguard swing against this deck, because if they don't, they're at risk of just dying immediately. Here's a brief explanation on how to hit 5 meteors on the field first grade 3 turn. Use grade 1 skill to dig for extra orders. Play 1 order from hand first turn. On grade 2, play another. Don't forget to draw to dig more. On Vanguard plays, search 2 orders and draw 2 to dig even more. Then play another order. Basically, you just play an order every turn, thanks to how much digging this deck can do. This digging is so effective because we play 14 orders in the deck. For Mulligan, it's pretty simple. You're looking to keep your actual units in hand, or if you have a confident enough hand, you can keep 1 order in hand just to be safe. Outside of that, you never want to keep more than 1 meteor on Mulligan. This deck is designed to see them anyway. That's why you could even put back all the meteors if your hand is bad enough. Keep PGs in fronts for matchups where you need to be defensive, like the mirror match. On to matchups. This deck has good matchups in the 2 types of decks. Decks that are hurt by mass retiring, or decks that can be rushed down. This deck's got a very solid matchup against Bruce. However, the strength of this deck does depend on how many triggers you see. It's the difference between 2 crit and 6 crit. Getting unlucky on triggers grade 3 could cause this deck to run out of steam quickly. This deck struggles against matchups that can tank through Gravidia, such as Lorana Roll. On the deck rating. Rating Gravidia's power is weird. You can kill people out of nowhere with the right luck, but if you don't see triggers, this deck is just slightly better Phantom Blaster Dragon. I'm giving this deck a variable 2 out of 5 on power. This deck is live turn 3 and can play units earlier to rush if needed, 3 out of 5 on speed. The deck can board wipe opponents every turn after grade 3 turn, solid 4 out of 5 on control. You're always able to hit 5 meteors and fully use all of your skills in this deck. The problem is, that's not the luck that matters. If you're a Sat God and can see triggers consistently, play this deck. 2 out of 5 on consistency. This deck covers a lot of ground against matchups. Really, the only thing missing from this deck is super late game. There's also more room than at first glance for techs. I'm gonna give this deck a generous 4 out of 5 for versatility. This deck is a draw 2, soul charge 2 on Vanguard plays. That's insane. On top of that, Bringer lets us draw on place. However, running 14 orders really hurts the actual value of the cards you draw. Outside of these 2 admittedly good skills, the deck doesn't do a whole lot else for value. 3 out of 5 on value. In conclusion, this deck is a fun experiment into order design in Vanguard. It's very fun to play and very toxic when you get lucky. Board wipes every turn and an amazing art style make this a really easy deck to recommend. Thanks for watching. I should have profiles for the other 2 decks in set 3 coming out soon. After that, I'll do a Eugene, Bruce, and Hexorb profile to show you how these decks have changed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this content. These videos take a lot of effort, and I'd love it if I could do these more often. In any case, see you next time.